Hello everyone. My name is Anne. I'm a software engineer at Google. Um, this year, my mentee is Lea, and she's a seventh grader at Girls Middle School. She is very talented and interested in programming. We did a shooting game together. Um, we started with a tutorial, and Lea added a few very creative, very cool features to it. Including the boss can shoot back to the sheep and also a different level of difficulties of the game. I hope you'll enjoy the game and be careful. Don't get hooked up by it. Let's introduce Leah.
Hello. My mentor is Anne. She works at Google and is a software engineer there. She comes from China and enjoys rock climbing. So I started off by just thinking about what game I wanted to code and what platform I wanted to code it in. And along with drawing drafts of the game, which is what you see here. It's very different now, but those are the original designs. So there was a project design document where we just wrote things, I guess. And there was two options of how to implement it, JavaScript and Unity, but we ended up going with JavaScript because it was simpler and because Unity wasn't working. And then I started coding the game. So it's played in the browser for Chrome, and it's coded with a combination of HTML and JavaScript, although it's mainly JavaScript. We also downloaded Easel.js to implement it for some of its functions, so it would be a bit easier. So we started off with a tutorial and worked up from that. So there's some minor changes, like changing the enemy sprite, but the major ones are moving the ship across the screen with the mouse, since it cannot move up and down in the original game. The boss has more health. It has twice as much now, and it actually shows so the player can tell how much health the boss has left. There are 3 difficulty levels for people, so depending on how relaxed of a game people want or how confident they feel with the game, they can decide that now. And the boss can now shoot bullets back at the player, which makes it a lot more intimidating. So some challenges were the tutorial. It was very outdated, so a lot of the functions it used didn't exist anymore. So we had to one by one go and find the commands it was using, figure out what the updated version was and what it meant, and then re-implement them. Debugging, kind of the same thing. It just took a while, and even afterwards, there were bugs everywhere. So it took many, and we spent many sessions just trying to figure out why X code didn't work and how to get it to work. There were hitboxes to code for the enemies and the bullets, and those were quite hard because the exact measurements and pixels are quite hard to get right. And last but not least, one of the most prominent ones was that the difficulty levels refused to disappear. Even though they had the exact same code as something else, they just did not disappear. So some highlights, or a lot of highlights. Finally getting the tutorial to work. So all the broken functions were now updated, and all the bugs in the tutorial were fixed. So that was nice. The enemy hitboxes eventually got to work consistently, which made the game a lot more fun. The difficulty levels were just very nice to add, so you could change how hard you want the game to be. The boss shooting bullets back made it a lot more intimidating, And well, all of this made me enjoy coding and especially the results a lot more than I already did. Things I learned is pretty much everything to do with JavaScript because I knew zero JavaScript when I came in, and that little things caused the code to freak out, which happened multiple times. So here it's played online, and there's 3 difficulty levels, so easy, medium, and hard. Each one has a different amount of lives, which is, so medium has 4, hard has 3, easy has 5. So you have to try to avoid the enemies and the bullets, or you'll lose lives, and bullets are especially dangerous because maximum you have 5 lives. So to beat the game, you need to kill the boss, and to get the boss to show up, you need to kill a certain amount of enemies. Currently it's 200. Each enemy nets you 50 points, and once you trigger the boss and get its health down to 0, you win the game. And that's the game. Thanks.